Hi, everyone. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. I'm Carla Elizondo, and today I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with serial entrepreneur, belief and achievement coach, aka the Millionaire Maker, author, philanthropist, and so much more. Please help me welcome my friend, David Imonitie. Hi, David. How are you today?
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to get a piece of your time. I know you're a busy man. I want to ask you, I know you and I study the same things as far as personal development and really focus on the importance of the mind. What we put into our mind affects our subconscious mind, and it's there that we get our results.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about paradigms. I want to ask you, I love asking people about early childhood like programming. Did you always have really good paradigms growing up? Was it around you, or is that something you had to kind of reprogram as an adult?
I would have to say yes and no. And even before we get started, I want to say thank you for inviting me on. I know you have some incredible people that have come on this show. And so to have me be a part of that, I do appreciate that. I'm sure your viewers definitely appreciate the work that you're doing as well. But yeah, I think growing up, I had a mix. I had a mix of great paradigms, and then also I think I had some paradigms that I had to kind of break through as well. And the reason why I say that is because both my parents were pastors, so I grew up with the word.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very I would have to say it was a positive environment, even though we weren't wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. My mom had a desire to create wealth. My dad was a professional tennis player, so he was somewhat of a celebrity in Nigeria. So I grew up with people wanting to take pictures of my dad. But as I got older, and we moved from Nigeria to the U.S., I think that's probably when a lot of new paradigms were introduced to me.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, I had dreams. I wanted to play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always fighting for something. I always had a goal. And, obviously that dream was crushed pretty early and wasn't quite sure the direction my life was going to go. So it was the paradigm of go to school, get good grades, graduate, and go out and get a good job.
When you say
And when
crushed, was it somebody that crushed them or a realization you came to yourself?
it was a little bit of both. I got cut. I got cut my senior year. So my junior year playing basketball, I was the starter. My senior year, the coach decided to actually cut me. So most people, if you get cut your senior year, you know, that's pretty much the end of the story. And I remember that. He's actually one of the motivators that allowed me to become successful. Coach Reap. I can't wait to run into him again. That would be a very interesting meeting. But yeah, so went on to college and tried that, and that didn't work out. And so I just thought to myself I would work in retail because that's what I did in college, and hopefully get to where I could start making 50, $60,000 a year, have one wife, one child, and that was it. And then I got introduced to entrepreneurship at the age of 21, and that completely changed everything for me.
Yeah, it shifted. What was
Yeah.
your first experience with it? Was there somebody who inspired you, like a mentor or somebody who took you under their wing, or was it something you saw? What
Yeah.
was that impact?
I was getting off of work really late one night. It was like 11 o'clock, and I was at a gas station, and I ran into one of my best friends today, but I didn't know him back then. He was a frat brother of mine. We pledged the same fraternity, even though we had never met. I saw his license plates, and I went up to him and I said, "What's up?" And he had just come back from a direct sales convention, and he introduced me to entrepreneurship. And when I walked into a meeting, I saw people that were making, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month. The top guy was making $30,000 a month. So imagine this is 2004. So $30,000 a month. In my mind, I was like, wait a minute, that's what people make in a year, and you're making it per month. So now that was a completely different shift in my thinking, and it really inspired me. And I found what I was going to do, because I found where I could help people get what it is that they wanted, and in return, I would get everything that I wanted. And we didn't explode, but we definitely started from there 16 years ago.
And I know you mentioned you grew up kind of with faith surrounding you and a strong belief.
Hmm.
What was, I kind of mentioned like, I just, as a golden age, like 8-year-old David, what did 8-year-old David think? Did you have, like you said, you were a dreamer. Did your
Hmm.
faith and your belief help you know that you can achieve anything you want? And did your parents really encourage you, or were there people around you wanting to keep you safe and be like, well, don't, you have to get a
Yeah.
401k and be safe, 9 to 5, 40-hour week. How did that go?
My mom used to make me read Proverbs as a child. So I was never really around people that tried to keep me safe. I grew up in Nigeria, so I was in Nigeria till I was 10.
Mhm.
And there's a drive in that country to succeed. And a lot of times it's in education to succeed as far as your education is concerned. Basketball, and this is probably why I have such a love for Michael Jordan. Because what Michael did for me, Michael made me believe. I wanted to be him. So at a very early age, it gave me, and I didn't even realize this obviously at 8 or 9, 10 years old, but it gave me something to fight for.
Mhm.
It gave me something to drive for. Even though I never made it to the NBA, I did make it to the NBA. I call it the No Bosses Association, right?
That's good.
So,
That's good.
so that drive and that discipline to go and practice every single day
Mhm.
and envision myself as Michael, all those things play a role in who it is that I am today. It's just not with basketball, it's with entrepreneurship, it's with impacting a billion people. It's in everything that I do, from my foundation to Believe Nation. There's an inner drive to go for something. And that's why, to me, he's, outside of obviously being the greatest basketball player of all time, for me,
Mhm.
he's been my biggest inspiration. And now that I understand how it works, I can really see how that little kid, that 7, 8-year-old kid, having that goal has created who it is that I am today.
Right. And we study the importance of having a goal because that's
Yeah.
life bound, that's
Mhm.
forward bound, that keeps
Yeah.
you getting up out of bed and focused on something. Like if you were on a ship, we're ships. If we don't have a map and a goal, we're just drifting.
Right.
Drifting.
Right. Right.
So have you ever found yourself just drifting?
Yeah, I have actually. I remember when I first, when I was 20, my daughter was born, and I was lost. I didn't know the direction my life was going to go in. And here it is. I have this life in my hands, and I was in tears. It was tears of joy, but it was also terror, because I'm like, okay, now I have this life I have to take care of. And it actually caused me to actually get in trouble. I actually got into some trouble where I got caught stealing a TV. I was going to, steal a TV and sell it so I can have some money. And that's where the change really had to take place, because I was going down the wrong path. And my mom came down to North Carolina. This is where I was going to school. And she said, David, you have to come back home. So it was a very, very tough decision to leave North Carolina, leave my daughter, and move back home to Houston. But if I didn't do that, she wouldn't have the life that she has today. She's 17
Wow.
and just absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. But that time period, I was really lost. And then even after becoming an entrepreneur, and I failed in that first company, I got involved in another company, and that failed as well. And I said I gave up entrepreneurship. So I was just really teaching tennis with my dad,
Mhm.
you know, at 7 a.m. in the morning till 12. And then I would be a bum at home, just
Mhm.
doing nothing. But luckily enough, someone kept calling me about another opportunity, and I got involved in that. And it took me 6 years of entrepreneurship to make my first million. So I started at 21. By 27, I'd earned my first $1 million in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Perseverance. That's what that is.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And to talk about goal, I came over to acronym years ago. Go out and live.
Mm.
If you don't have a goal, you're not living, right? That's what wakes you up early in the morning, keeps you up late at night. That's the fuel that keeps you going, that vision, that dream, that desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. So every single day, what keeps me going, what would make me say yes to this interview is because, hey, every opportunity that I can get to make a difference in someone else's life, I'm going to take it.
Awesome.
I'm going to take it every single time.
I love that. And I know you talk about or you have a love for athletics. You used to
Hmm.
basketball, tennis, and that brings me to the importance of the mind-body connection, mind-body spirit. And
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
too I love athletes and how they really, I think it's such a blatant example of how we can turn our thoughts into something physical. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Mindful Athlete.
No, I haven't read that one.
Brilliant book, The Mindful Athlete. And it just talks about it's a spiritual practice to use this physical body to manifest. Like if you see like Kobe for me, like that's just like, oh my God, talk about repetition and faith and belief. Or Michael
Hmm.
Phelps winning all of those gold. It's like athletes for me are just so inspiring, and
Yeah.
that's how I connect through my physical body. So what are some practices you do that keep your mental hygiene, your spiritual hygiene, mental health going?
Yeah. I think it's really truly understanding your makeup.
Mhm.
There are three parts to each and every one of us. And the way I break it down is I am a spirit, okay? I live in a body and I possess a soul.
Mhm.
So the way that it actually works is your spirit man actually controls the mind, and then your mind controls the body. All right. But your spirit man is the words that you're feeding your mind. Every time I say I'm so happy and grateful now, I'm sending that signal to my mind.
Mhm.
And that vibration now impacts my body. All right. And it impacts the actions that I actually take. So what most people do is they allow the outside world,
Mhm.
right? What the outside world is actually saying, they allow that to enter into their mind, and then that affects their body.
Yeah.
All right. So even what's going on right now with this pandemic or plandemic, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people have, you know, maybe caused themselves to get sick because of the amount of intake that they kept
Mhm.
giving that spirit man. And
Mhm.
then that controlled the mind, because the mind is that GPS. It's going to direct you and take you exactly where you tell it.
Right. It's like Google. I heard of a good one. Like your mind is Google. You type in the word, it goes and
Hmm.
search for it. And then it's an algorithm. We all know Instagram. If you watch the same things over and over, it'll just keep giving you the same things. And you're like, why do I keep getting videos on how to make tamales? And I'm like, oh, because I watched one video. That's what I typed into Google. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I have to switch it, put a new
Right.
search in the search engine.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's the GPS. It's the GPS of your life. But as powerful as Google is, as powerful as the GPS is, it has no power until instruction is given to it, until words are given to it. So words are really what create everything in our lives. You can't spell world without word. You
Yeah.
can't. My faith is Christian, so it says the sword of the spirit. If I take away the S, you have word. So everything is centered around that. That's what controls my life. So you come to my place, I have signs everywhere. I have words everywhere, because
Mhm.
I know subconsciously right there I see impact 1 billion,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Subconsciously I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing these words, I'm feeding it to my mind, and it's figuring out a way for me to actually get there. I don't know how I'm going to get there. The
Mhm.
GPS knows how I'm going to get there. I just have to tell the GPS where it is that I want to go.
Yeah.
And then that now shows up in my body, shows up in what I eat, shows up in how I feel, shows up in how I work out, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're controlling what the five senses, what you let in. Because, like I mentioned, we all think we can multitask. We all think we can
Mm-hmm.
drive the car and talk on the phone and not
Mm-hmm.
see that billboard of the Kylie Jenner new lip injections and not think that our lips are too small. It's like we overestimate our ability to filter
Mm-hmm.
what goes in this thing. And
Yeah.
so it sounds like you really, and same as me, what I know we both follow Bob Proctor and other
Mm-hmm.
followings, and it's just really impacted us. And I think that we both shared that it's kind of the spiritual aspect that really kind of it merges a lot
Yeah.
of things and clicks. When did you say, this is it, this is what I want to study, and this is on track?
Yeah. I got exposed to The Secret. I think it was 2007, 2008. So I would say that was the beginning, right? But it wasn't until 2010. I'll never forget it. It was probably right around September of 2010. And I was listening to a particular minister, Creflo Dollar,
Mhm.
and the topic was "You are what you think." And he was saying so many different things, and it was one thing that he kept saying over and over again. He said, "The word is spirit. The
Mm.
word is spirit." And he went to John 1:1, and this is where like my life changed forever, right? John 1:1 says, "In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God." So that's a clear definition on who God is.
Mhm.
God is word.
Mhm.
Now, later on, it says that, "Are ye not gods?" So I'm a God, you're a God. We may not be the big God, but with the little God. It's
Mhm.
kind of like God is the ocean, and I can take this cup, a scoop of it, and guess what? It still comes from the same ocean, and you're a part of that. So
Mhm.
now you have the ability to create the way that he creates. He creates with his mouth. So
Mhm.
you have the ability to create with your mouth. And that's the spiritual aspect of it. So I guard my mind.
Mhm.
You know, I don't allow any negativity whatsoever. If
Mhm.
you're talking negative, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna stop you
Mhm.
from actually doing that.
Yeah.
And because I've trained my mind to only hear what is positive,
Right.
right? And anybody can do that. It takes time, but anybody can do that.
Yeah.
And it's worked. It's worked tremendously in my life. I know it like the back of my hand, but I continue to study it, and I
Mhm.
continue to learn it, and I
And there's
continue
no
to grow
finish
in it.
line. We never
Yeah,
arrive. We
yeah,
never
never.
arrive. And I don't know what really impacted me. I heard a while ago, but it came to me this morning is we're God afraid.
Mm-hmm,
We're just
mm-hmm,
God afraid. That's why
mm-hmm.
we don't understand the power we have. So I was saying to
Right.
my friend, I was like, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know what God has planned. What's God doing? And he goes, what are you doing? And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, that puts the responsibility on me.
Yeah, because the reality of it is God has already done what he's going
Everything's
to do.
complete.
It's
Creation is
already
finished.
completed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we learn in the
It's
effortless
just
way.
what do I want out
Yes.
of everything he's already done? What do I want out of it? And what I want is what I'm saying.
Yes. Creation is finished. I always say Jesus could have had an iPhone. Everything
Hmm.
in this phone was here when Jesus like
It
Jesus
was.
could have had an iPhone. It was just
Mhm.
people didn't the demand wasn't there and that creative faculty, the awareness
The awareness.
could have existed. So I know I could talk to you for hours, but I know that you're a busy man, but I just want to thank you so much. I know we just touched very lightly on all of these deep topics, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time and your generosity in telling your stories. And I know you have a new book out. If you
Yeah.
yeah, show that
It's right
beauty.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conceive, believe and achieve. It was actually an audio that I did back in 2011.
Mhm.
And people asked me to actually turn it into a book. So we actually did that. Conceive, believe and achieve. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, or you can get it at believenation.com.
Yes.
It's a social media platform that we created that gives myself and a few other coaches that I'm actually bringing on board to really teach people how to believe and achieve in their lives, in all areas of their lives. So in leadership, emotional strength, their fitness,
Yeah.
their spirituality, 7 different pillars that we're actually going to be creating mastery in for individuals that are in Believe Nation. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and thank you for doing that work towards 1 billion. I will add to that. And
Yes.
people need it right now. I think spirituality and connection and going inside, not just metaphorically, we've all been inside, forced inside, but we've been forced inside. So I think
Right.
yeah, really big. Well, I'll leave all of your
Awesome.
contact information in the post below, but thank you so much again, David. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for your time as well.
Thanks again, David, for taking time to chat with me. That was such a good conversation. All of those topics, they're just so rich, and we could talk for hours about it. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. I sure did. Thank you again for watching. Please share this with anybody who you think would like it, and definitely check David out. He's doing amazing work over at Believe Nation, and check out his new book, Conceive, Believe, Achieve. He knows what he's talking about. He is a serious student of all these things, and he is such an inspiration to me. So I hope you all check him out. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.